Lucanis, my poor boy.
Yeah, so in the finished game, the big bad of Lucanis' storyline is a woman named Zara Renata. Zara is an extremely underwhelming villain, and she suffers from a lot of the same tonal dissonance as the rest of the game does. It's another great example of how showing us a disturbing visual doesn't equate to mature storytelling. She's literally bathing in blood when we meet her, and that should be an incredibly disturbing scene to stumble on, but it isn't. First of all, from a writing perspective, we haven't built up this woman as an adversary or even really a character before this moment. We only ever hear her name said in a distasteful tone, and we never see what she's capable of before we're just thrown into a boss battle with her. And the look of the scene doesn't sell the straight-up debauchery on display. It feels like we just stepped into some lady's unhinged self-care routine and she started monologuing at us. And so meeting her like this is more awkward than intimidating. One of the game's storyboard artists, Nick Thornborough, put some of his work from Veilguard on his personal website. It showcases, among other things, a couple beautiful pieces of Zara and Ilario. And you can see that at some point in development, their relationship was supposed to be much more explicitly sexual. And that's fine. I mean, it would have given them something as far as a motive and connection are concerned, but it's still pretty weak. I personally think that the game would be better if Zara just straight up didn't exist, and we instead supplanted Katarina into her role in the story. And I mean that literally. I want to see Granny in that bloodbath. That's kind of a joke, but I do genuinely think that seeing the stuffy, matronly Katarina just revel in this sort of ghoulish hedonism would really sell just how wicked this scene really is. She'd send the mind-controlled Ilario into the fight like a big, tanky, sacrificial lamb while she meddled from a distance, calling forth blood waves that stagger you if you don't dodge them, and disappearing into the bath only to pop up for a sneak attack and resubmerge. And once Ilario's health got to about a third of its max, she'd send him into a bloodlust frenzy where his attacks are faster and deal more damage. If you can't tell, I'm spending a lot of time on this boss fight because I find Zara's fight and pretty much every boss in the game to be exceedingly boring and repetitive. I actually really like Veilguard's action RPG combat system from a user end. I find the fluidity with which Rook fights to be really satisfying, and while I think that the skill tree is really bloated, I do like the class system. I play a spellsword in basically any game that lets me, and Veilguard's version of that playstyle is super fun. But we aren't given enough enemy variety to match Rook's combat energy. We desperately needed more diverse battle tactics and crowd control techniques, and simplifying our companions definitely didn't help in that persistent feeling of tedium.